I tried to reel in freelance. I tried to like knee jerk my way into freelance without even having a client base first. Don't do this. I could give a whole lecture on how to do freelance the wrong way, because this is that story. Welcome back, everybody. Part 2 of my story. Let's see. It was 2001. I've been drawing in my spare time, art all over my walls in my room. So my friends came over, and I was known to be an artist. I was also getting big into electronic dance music at that time, and starting to mess with DJing and things like that. A friend of a friend got me hired at a small local video game magazine called Silicon. I got hired as a cover artist. Initially, they liked my arts. They wanted my art in the magazine. And then April 1st, 2001, the editor, or the publisher, the guy in charge, called and said, "Hey, I know it's April Fool's, but we need you to fly to London for a press event." And so I went, and it was a full 5-star treatment by Sony, and I got to play a video game journalist for about a year. Pretty cool. It was life-changing. I thought for a minute I was going to be a journalist, and I thought my life was going to be drawing video game characters and reviewing video games and traveling and being treated like royalty and going to press junkets and things like that. And then a year later, the magazine owner didn't want to do that anymore and sold it to a guy in Kentucky, and we were told to either go with it or not. So none of us did, and that might have been for the better, considering the magazine went sneakers up in 6 months. That was my first real taste of professionalism, being a professional artist. I really thought, like, wow, this is what it's like. This is big. I'm getting paid to be an artist. I thought, like I said, this is the first moment where I thought, wow, this is it. This is my path. And then just like that, it was gone. Me and my editor-in-chief started a website, and we tried to keep it going, and we did for a little while, and it just couldn't keep up. Life gets in the way. I was in my 20s. I wasn't very responsible. I didn't have that full, Gary Vaynerchuk drive. Just life got in the way. So back into the depths of the workforce I go. I call these the dark times. I partied a lot, played a lot of video games, and art, while always there for me, was definitely hogtied in the trunk. Video games were integral. It was a way for me and my friends to connect. I'd play with girlfriends or my parents, or I'd have friends come over and play all hours together. This is back when people played video games in the same room with one another. And then I got to manage a video game store, which just sort of, it just sort of consumed my life. Eventually, I convinced myself that school would change everything. You could see, if you look at somebody's portfolio, you can usually tell if they went to school or not. So I thought this would change everything. I thought all my artistic shortcomings would get fixed, and the school would place me with a job. This was just my solution. So I got accepted to the Academy of Art University in San Francisco, probably one of the most expensive art schools in the country. So I got a loan, miraculously, quit my job, abandoned my still girlfriend, and flew to San Francisco with an oversized duffel bag, and started down my new path of trying to perfect myself as an artist and living out of a duffel bag. Of course, I was living on campus in a dorm room with some very awesome people that I wish I kept better contact with. It was one of the best summers of my life, actually. I took some foundational art classes and a Photoshop class because it was a prerequisite, and met some great people. Though ultimately I didn't get funding for the fall semesters, so just like that, it was over. My next logical step was to move in with some friends in LA for $700 a month, living in one bedroom of a very crowded apartment. I tried to make it work with my artwork. I tried to reel in freelance. I tried to knee jerk my way into freelance without even having a client base first. Don't do this. I could give a whole lecture on how to do freelance the wrong way, because this is that story. And rather than bussing tables or stocking shelves, I ran out of money again and came back to St. Louis and moved in with Mom and Dad. My grandparents also were moving in with my mom and dad. They had a pretty big house here in St. Charles, and it was actually a pretty neat experience. I got to bond with my family for the first time, and as an adult, it's different. And I think this is why so many countries overseas do this. They live together in these big sort of group. They put the grandparents on the bottom level, they put the middle adults in the middle level, and they put the youngest people at the top level, and everybody eats together and they enjoy a life together. And that's kind of what it was like. It was really interesting. And miraculously at that time, my business exploded too. I got known for doing commissions. I got comic gigs like crazy. I got reputation as a commission artist on Reddit. Even started to work on a few independent video games like FTL. It's a big title. If you don't know what it is, look that up. I was sour that I was back in St. Louis. I had a lot of journal entries on how I didn't want to be here. Living in such a cultural hub like San Francisco and then coming back to St. Louis is a bit of a culture shock. And of course, coming back to my girlfriend, who was very unhappy with me, caused some some strife as well. So I got enough money to move out. I got a motorcycle instead of a car. Dumb move. Moved in with some friends, and my life continues to evolve. Sort of like a love and art soap opera. I don't know where this ended. 2015? 2013? I don't remember. Doesn't matter. Thanks for listening. I'll see you all next time.